Welcome to the Plant-Based Podcast. Did you know that plants are truly amazing? Not only can you grow them and eat them, you can also wear them, drink them, nourish your skin with them, and so much more. Let Ellen and Michael inspire you to love plants as much as they do, as they chat with the movers and shakers in this wonderful plant-based world. So, let's dig in.
Transform your garden the easy way with sponsors of Series 20 of the podcast, Garden on a Roll. It's the perfect solution for beautiful, ready-made garden borders. If you love the look of professionally designed planting but don't have the time, knowledge or patience to plan it yourself, Garden on a Roll has you covered. Each border is expertly designed by award-winning garden designer Anthony Henn, and delivered with a simple, pre-planned, biodegradable template you can roll out and plant in one go. No guesswork, no stress, just follow the instructions and enjoy the results. Whether you're refreshing a tired space or starting from scratch, you'll get a cohesive, seasonal design that works with plants chosen to thrive together and look great all year round. Choose your style and size, and everything you need is delivered to your door. It's planting by numbers. Visit Garden on a Roll today and bring your outdoor space to life. So today on the Plant-Based Podcast, we are joined by Nick Cutsumpas, perhaps better known as Farmer Nick, a passionate grower, educator, environmentalist, and advocate for plant-based living.
And Nick's approach blends practical gardening advice with a deeper message about sustainability, resilience, and positive climate action. So welcome to the podcast, Farmer Nick. We've been wanting you for years on here, so it's great to see you, man. Thank you.
Thank you for having me. It's an honor to be here, and I'm excited to dig into it today.
Oh, cool. We can't wait.
No, I can't wait. I love your content. I love everything that you do. And so I can't wait to kind of dig deeper. But the first thing we have to do, we ask all of our guests, take us back to where it all began for you. What first inspired you to do what you do?
Yes, the germination story, per se, right?
Exactly.
So I was never a plant person. We, growing up, did not have a single plant in our home, not one. And I graduated from college. I played baseball my entire life through college, and all of a sudden, you're 22 years old, you have no identity anymore, right? It's like, now I'm just going to go work. I guess this is what I do. And I was living at home with my parents in suburban New York, just above New York City. And my mom said, well, listen, if you're going to live here rent free, you got to do something around the house. And I was like, all right, well, what do you want me to do? And she said, well, you love to be outside, you love to cook, you love food. Why not start a garden? I knew nothing, right? But I went out to Home Depot, bought some tomatoes and cucumbers, some wood for a raised bed, and I just started planting in the backyard. It was like 4x8. It was not a big area. And I just became obsessed. It was the literal fruits of my labor that just tasted so good and was so fulfilling and rewarding. I just had to keep expanding it. And I did that for 3 years while I lived at home, and just garden grew bigger and bigger and bigger, heirloom varieties and sweet potatoes and eggplant, this and that. I was growing it all. Then I moved to New York City. Got to, move out of the house and flee the nest there. And I became kind of depressed because you go from this nice green suburban lifestyle to the literal concrete jungle. So I did the only thing that made sense to me, and I bought 120 houseplants for my 600 square foot apartment. And I was like, this is going to make me feel better. And it did. It absolutely did. And from there was encouraged by some friends at the time, just to hey, start sharing this on social media, just see what happens, right? It's kind of cool. And from there, it grew on the socials. People started asking me, can you do this for my space? Can you come to my apartment, my office space, my terrace, my rooftop, my second property upstate, right? All these different places. And that's how I began my landscape design business. So that was the origins of Farmer Nick, and it has not stopped growing since.
That is cool.
Amazing.
Well, you're definitely known for inspiring people to reconnect with nature through growing their own food and also champion environmentally conscious practices. But did you have like a kind of light bulb moment when you realized how important this all was? Like, kind of for me, from what you just said, the light bulb moment was you moved to New York and then you bought 20 houseplants. But what drove you to know
120.
that? What drove you to know what was missing? Was it instinct that made you go to get the houseplants because that's the thing that you needed to finish you off? What was the moment when you
Hmm.
had this realization around, that plants would improve your environment?
So for me, it obviously started with the aesthetic of it, right? Like it just
Hmm.
made me feel good.
Yeah.
And I liked seeing it. Now, you might enjoy seeing something, and I can see these plants behind me. I've got plants
Okay.
on front of
Yeah.
me as well. That's one thing for your mental health, your kind of,
Hmm.
mindset. But once I realized, I was like, okay, if I'm caring so much about these plants inside, how
Hmm.
can I not care about the plants outside, the big plant we all live on? And I
Hmm.
started focusing, especially when I got into the outdoor landscaping side. I was
Mm.
like, ooh, okay, not every plant is created equal here. What are the plants that are going to benefit the pollinators, going to benefit the soil, going to
Hmm.
be native and have symbiotic relationships with the world around them, right? Like that's when I started really focusing more on the environmental side. And also it started impacting my dietary choices. I was like, oh, if I, want to have the best impact with the plants, I also need to eat certain plants and cut down on my impact in that way as well. So it all kind of coalesced together with
Hmm.
the landscaping, the food choices, and it expanded my mind in a really great way.
Cool. So it's almost
That's
from those 20 houseplants, yeah, it kind of like sparked in every direction.
I think it was
Kind of cool.
120.
Oh, I
120.
misheard 120. Oh, whoa. Okay.
120. Yeah, it was a
You bought
lot.
them all at the same time. I'm just imagining like two big trolleys.
I would say I probably bought 50 initially, and then over the
Oh,
course of that next year, I reached 120.
whoa. That is
Yeah,
cool.
It is really cool. I love that. But I do also really love like how you progress through kind of opening up your mind and your world to doing
Mm,
all the other things with plants because one plant really can change your view of the world. Genuinely do believe that because you're looking after something, you're being responsible for something, you're thinking about its needs and then how that connects to other things. And that's kind of the process that you went through. So from house plants to outside, and that I think that's something that both Michael and I try to, when we do talks or, at shows or on the podcast is try to get, others to see that just one plant really can change your life
yeah.
because it can change your view
that's
on it,
it.
right?
Mhm.
100%. I always say that plants are stepping stones towards sustainability. And
Mm.
if I can get you to care about that little plant, I can open up your mind to so
Mm,
many other aspects of
mhm.
environmentalism.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely true. So you've obviously grow your own food, and I've seen some stuff like, in your content about plant-based and everything. Um, I'd love to kind of know your view on how growing your own food contributes to reducing, an environmental footprint overall.
Absolutely. I think growing your own food is one of the most empowering things you can do for yourself, for the planet, for your community as well. Uh, Food just tastes different when you grow it yourself. And I think you start realizing, like, oh, shoot, maybe that tomato I get from the grocery store is not really what a tomato is meant to taste like. And I use tomato as a very specific example because I think it's the one that people connect with the most. Because sometimes
Okay.
store-bought
Yeah.
tomatoes really don't hit, especially if they're out
Mm,
of season. And once you experience that and you realize, okay, what are then the factors that make this tomato taste different?
mhm.
Is it the way it's being farmed? Is it the pesticides being used? Is it as nutritious as the tomato I have here too, right? There's so many things that you start to question. And for me, growing my own food, and I in Michigan, it's a cold weather climate, right? So there's only so much we can do. But I grow 120 pounds of tomatoes last year. I'm
Mhm.
giving them away to neighbors. I'm
Yeah.
connecting in that way,
And
right?
changing their world at the same time. Yeah.
Exactly. Because then they're like, huh, maybe I should try a couple plants. Now, I had, you know, 15,
Mhm.
20 tomato plants, right? Average person's probably going to have two or three. But even so, it's such an eye-opening moment for folks who are disconnected. I've been connected for a long time. It's been 12 years. But
Mhm.
for those folks, that might be their first introduction to it, and it might totally reshape how they view the grocery store and the gardens in their own backyard.
Yeah, I get that totally. I have to tell you a brief story about potatoes. So I
We're
know
always up for that, Ellen.
I know I always have a story, but anyway, the tomato thing 100%, but it just goes to show the difference of growing your own because I wouldn't necessarily have thought that a potato would taste so different grown at home than what you buy in the
Okay.
supermarket. Okay. And I have a friend who really hates potatoes. He's never liked them, doesn't eat them, thinks they just taste of nothingness, even if, oil and salt and they're roasted. He's just not into them. And I gave them some potatoes because obviously my friend, his wife, eats them. He had some and he said he literally could t taste the difference. He said I could the
Mm,
difference. I enjoyed them. I actually liked having the potatoes.
wow.
So, like the tomatoes are sweet, so you can kind of, you buy them from the supermarket, there's no flavor. You grow them at home, in the sun and organically, and you get that lovely sweetness, da da da. But
Mhm.
with a potato, isn't it amazing that you can actually still taste that difference?
It's so telling, right? Because it's not just how it's grown, but also where it's grown too, right?
Yeah.
Your own backyard, the soil that you have, how you're enriching that soil. I tell people, if you're taking care of the soil, the rest will take care of itself, right? The
Yeah.
plants are the secondary thing. If your soil's right, your plants are going to be right.
Yeah.
And I'll never forget this. I was reading a book called The Third Plate by Chef Dan Barber, who famous chef, Stonehill Blue, Stonehill Blue, Stone Farms. I forget the name of the farm he's got, but it's a really organic farm. He's got an amazing restaurant, Blue Hill at Stone Barns. And in his book, he talks about carrots grown in Mexico versus carrots grown in cool weather climates. And
Mhm.
carrots, when in cool weather climates, they have more sugars because the carbohydrates condense and they almost act like antifreeze. So
Oh,
when you buy
really?
carrots from Mexico, it doesn't taste like anything. It's just,
Yeah.
you bite into it and you're like, so be it.
Wow.
Carrots grown in the cool weather tastes like candy. And
I
all of a
did not
sudden you
know
see,
this. This
oh
is
yeah,
mind blowing.
oh
Wow.
yeah, it's amazing. It's amazing. And there's a special machine that can like analyze the contents of an ingredient like that and break it down
Mm.
very specifically with metrics. And the carrot grown in the cool weather was like off the charts sweet, and the
Mm.
Mexican carrot had zero. So yes, it might technically be food, but is
Mm.
it really the best representation of that food?
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
And that's the bricks content, right? You're referring to with the sweetness?
I believe,
Yeah.
yeah, I believe
Yeah,
so.
yeah.
Yeah.
Cool. Awesome. I want to ask a little bit about your kind of plant-based diet. At what point did that come along? Before or after 120 houseplants?
This was after. This
Yeah.
was a documentary I got into called Cowspiracy. And it was really focused on the environmental impacts of a plant-based diet versus just a regular omnivore diet. Now, I was the farthest thing from a plant-based person when I got started with this. Being an
Mhm.
athlete, I thought protein, protein, protein. I would be eating, as much chicken breast as I could find in college, and it served a purpose for a time, right? But then you start expanding your mind a little bit and realizing, hey, protein can be from a lot of different areas. And if I'm trying to care for these plants in my garden, like let's see if I can incorporate some more plant-based options into my normal diet. So
Mhm.
about 2 years, it was a transition period of like, okay, we'll start off with plant-based meals 4 times a week. And then it became, all right, we'll do plant-based the whole week, and then we'll do weekends a little more flexible, right?
Hmm.
Uh, it was very gradual, but then all of a sudden I was like, hey, this is kind of easy and I can cook and it works. So if I
Okay.
can do this, it's not going to be hard. And I went fully vegan at the end of 2019, and I haven't looked back since. It's been great.
Well, I love that. My husband was the same. He was a big meat eater. And when I went vegan, I said to him, I would like to just try it for 3 weeks and see how I feel. And will you do it with me? Because it will just help like with the shopping and stuff. And he's
Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
no way, I'm not doing that. I eat meat and and then he said, okay, okay. He said, I'll do it with you. But can I still have milk? And I was like, no, we're gonna do it for 3 weeks flat. And
Wow.
I knew at the end of 3 weeks he'd be like, "No, I'm going back." Got to the end of 3 weeks, and I said, "Well, I feel really good. I don't think I'm going back. I'm going to carry on. I'm really enjoying this." And he went, "Yeah, me too." And we've been vegan ever since.
That's amazing. I mean, people do feel good. It does take some time for your gut microbiome to adjust, right? Because there's a lot of fiber, a
Mm.
lot more fiber than people are used to. But once you get there and you get into a rhythm, and if you have some skills in the kitchen, it makes it so much easier.
Yeah, absolutely. Couldn't
Wow,
agree more.
that is cool. I want to ask about kind of like plant-based living as a kind of lifestyle, because in your bio it actually says plant-based masculinity, and that's a phrase that we'd never heard before. Can you run us through that, please?
Yeah, it's something that I just throw up there as a reminder that you can be a quote unquote soy boy, which is what
Hmm.
gets very tied up in the world of social media when it comes to these conversations, right? Oh, you can't be strong, you can't be masculine, your estrogen's going to be high if you're eating soy, all this stuff. And I'm like, listen, you can take your shirt off, I can take my shirt off. We'll see, right? We'll
Hmm.
do we can do some push-ups, we can go for a run. I will perform just as well, if not better, in most of
Hmm.
these things. And I'm not eating animal, right? And I think that it's more so a poke at the because in America, your dietary choices oftentimes reflect your political affiliation,
Hmm.
where the right is very intent on this carnivore diet, and I'm sure you've seen like RFK, our health secretary, talking about how we need to have more beef tallow and red meat and all this stuff, and it's become ingrained in the marketing of masculinity. Like you can't be a man if you eat these things and don't eat meat, right? And
Such a
it's
point,
tough.
actually. Yeah, yeah, yeah. It resonates definitely. Yeah.
It does. And honestly, like, you know, could I be just as healthy on a well-balanced omnivore diet? Sure.
Hmm.
But I don't need to.
Mhm.
And I tell everyone, I'm like, listen, you don't have to be vegan. Just eat more plants. It's better for you, better for the
Yeah.
planet. And I bet you're going to enjoy it along the way. So that's my take on it because I've been called a soy boy many, many times by crazy people on the internet.
Oh boy.
And it's just, it's comes with the territory.
Mhm.
It does come with the tale. I don't know if I should tell you this story. I hope I don't.
Here we go, another one.
I'm sorry. I don't suppose that anybody at my husband's work would be listening to this, but you never know. He was in New York for work, and there was a company who were like trying to sell him something. So in order to do that, they took him out for a meal, and they didn't ask him about dietary requirements or anything like that. They just assumed because he was a guy, he would want to go to the
Steakhouse.
best steakhouse in New York.
Oh
So
yeah.
they went to the steakhouse, and then without asking, they'd already like ordered like like a sharer like steak plate stuff, da 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 da.
Yeah.
He just sat there, and they're trying to sell their product to him, and they were like, tuck in. He was like, "Well, I'm vegan."
That's funny. Oh my God.
It honestly, I've had some of my favorite meals at steakhouses
Yeah.
because they have amazing French fries. Like some of the best French fries, and they usually come with like mashed potatoes and broccoli or something, asparagus.
Yeah.
Usually pretty good.
Yeah, it was just so funny
Yeah.
how they just assumed. Do you know what I mean? He was a guy, he works in like IT, therefore he must
Yeah.
like
It is.
like steak. And he said he actually had a really nice meal because the restaurant were amazing and made him some lovely food. And
Yeah.
the guy said to him, "Okay, well, sorry about that. You can choose the wine." So he just chose the most expensive wine on the menu.
There you go.
But at
There
that
you
point,
go.
he could have been, "Oh, I don't drink," and then they would have been really out of the
Well,
No,
the box.
I don't drink either, so
Yeah.
I confuse people like crazy. They don't know how to cater to me oftentimes, but it's fun.
it
But it
is
is funny
fun.
this masculinity thing, like kind of. I think because I haven't drunk for like the past 3 years, and sometimes beer is a similar thing to steak. It's really something that guys communicate with. Do you know what I mean? And suddenly, if you're not
Oh,
drinking, it's kind of like,
absolutely.
oh, you're like maybe you drink a 0% that kind of like you then pass. Do you know what I mean? It's like,
Yeah.
what
Yeah,
is that all
it's
about? You know?
this idea of masculinity is one that I think quite a lot about, even in the plant world.
Yeah,
Because if
yeah.
you look at our peers in the plant world, right? I mean, how many straight guys are in the plant world, right? It's
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
not that many. It's
Mm.
dominated by women, the LGBTQ community, and it's one of those things where, the more comfortable you are in those spaces, the
Mm.
more you are comfortable in your own masculinity
Mhm.
and and I always talk about, if I can inspire people, especially with like my kids show that I've been doing with Farmer Nick Jr., like young boys, to show them like, hey, you can be masculine and love sports and this and that, but still care about the flowers in your garden and develop that sense of nurture. That's really important to me.
Yeah, that is
Yeah.
brilliant.
And this is just such
Yeah.
a wonderful kind of, is it antidote? Is that the word to the whole
Yeah. Yeah.
toxic masculinity crap that's going on out there at the
Oh yeah.
moment, like with the Louis
Mm.
Theroux documentary that's just
I
come out.
just watched that. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So this is good. We need more of you, Farmer Nick. Tell us a little bit more about the kids show because that sounds interesting.
Yeah, it's Farmer Nick Jr. I dress up as a plant, a sunflower, and I talk to myself. I talk to Nick. So basically, when the film crew comes to the house, I dress up as plant. I talk to Nick over here. I change the outfits, turn into regular Nick, talk to plant over here,
Hmm.
and we do all these different activities and kind of little experiments that are all focused on teaching about how plants work, sustainability, and projects you can do at home, especially in the off seasons of school, right?
Yeah.
So we've had 2 seasons out on YouTube now. Third season's coming out in May, which is very exciting. And the goal is just to get kids just engaged in plant education early. Because when I was growing up, there were no role models for plants and environmentalism. Like for
Mm.
me, it was as close as it got with Steve Irwin, who everyone loved, And I want to be able to show the younger generation, especially those young boys, that like, hey, it's cool to care. Like it's
Yeah.
fun and it's just a part of life. It's not a girl thing. It's not
Mm.
something your grandma does. Like this is something that you can do too, and you can have a lot of fun doing it.
That sounds really cool. Very cool indeed.
Definitely.
And I love that you chose a sunflower as well. I love that you
Yes.
chose to be a sunflower.
My favorite flower.
I
Oh.
love that.
Tell me the name of the channel again. I want to make sure I'm following that on
Farmer
YouTube.
Nick Jr. Yeah.
Junior, cool.
Farmer
Will
Nick
do.
Jr. There you go, listeners as well.
Cool.
Farmer
Awesome
Nick
idea.
Jr. Just talking about that plant-based diet, do you have any tips for people transitioning to a plant-based diet and how maybe growing a small amount of their own food could make a bit of a difference to that as well?
Oh, absolutely. So plant-based diets, the biggest question I get is just protein. Where do you get your protein from?
Yeah.
And there's so many forms of protein that exist outside of just tofu, right? I think people get intimidated by soy. It's a lot of misinformation about soy on the internet. And if you want to do your soy-based products, that's great. You can do your tofu and your tempeh and all the other derivatives that come from that. But you know, I always tell people go to the bookstore and get beans, get lentils, get nuts, all these different things that you can incorporate that are really, really easy. So
Mm.
I could make a meal and do, I cook up some brown rice. I can do anything with that base. I could add lentils to it. I could add um, tofu if I want, if I want the soy in there, and then always sprinkle on some pumpkin seeds and hemp seeds. It's
Yeah.
Mm.
great for fiber, great nutrients in there, and just a little bit of those things. All of a sudden, your protein intake is exactly what it was from before.
Mhm.
So I think just learning how to incorporate more of those alternative proteins in your diet, just so that you're less concerned and less stressed about, am I getting enough all the time?
Mhm.
Yeah, yeah, I love that. Absolutely agree. I done a test recently with Function Health. That's a bit of a shout out, isn't
Cool.
it? But it's over 160 blood tests and whatever, urine tests. Because I wanted to see where I was at, because I've been vegan for quite a lot of years, and I get the same thing. Oh, you can't be healthy, or da da da, you can't be fit, or you can't be
Mm.
strong, all of that. Da. And they all came back so, so good. It goes
Cool.
to show that if you just have that plant-based diet or at least plant forward diet. And you make sure that you are cooking organically, you're not getting all the toxins and stuff,
Hmm.
and you're having, like you said, like your protein and your fiber that you can do it. We don't need meat. Simple as that. And
Yeah.
I've always said that if I needed meat, i.e., if I was going to die, if I didn't eat meat, I'd eat meat because I
Mm.
don't want to die, right? But we don't need meat. We can be
Yeah.
healthy without it.
There are lots of people, who have allergies to legumes or soy or all these things. And if that's the case, go ahead. Like,
Yeah.
I'm not
Yeah.
going to tell you that, doing what's best for your health is not something you should do.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I think people don't realize how easy it can be. And also it's way cheaper. Like
Yeah. Yeah.
getting like lentils and all these other things that are high in protein, high in fiber, but low cost.
Yeah.
It's great. Now, I don't grow those things at home because you need a lot. You need a lot of space to do those, and the harvesting takes a long time as well. So for my garden, that's when I grow like the fun veggies that add the flavor, right?
Yeah.
That's where I'm growing my heirloom varieties of tomatoes and doing my fun herbs and spices and things that I can do that enhance those other plant-based items that are more protein rich. So
Yeah.
it's a good balance for me.
Good. That's awesome. I love the tip as well there, really. It's like just grow what enhances what you're eating in that plant-based diet.
Mm.
That's really
Well,
good.
that's
Yeah.
cool. What about like you took us into growing a bit there, which is great because we want to ask a little bit about how people can grow these things easily at home in an eco-friendly way as well, because it's not just about having that plant-based diet, but it's also about
Yes.
living in a more eco-friendly way as well. So I just got to say a minute ago, Ellen, like I don't know who said it, but plant forward diet. That sounds really cool, and that sounds more achievable to more people as well in some strange way because it doesn't feel like such a solid change. It feels like halfway on the path to it. Yeah,
Mm.
plant forward. That's nice. Sorry,
Okay.
just wanted to name check you on that. Whoever said it, I feel
Plant forward. That was Ellen. It's
bad.
100%.
Yeah, yeah, that's really
100%.
cool.
And I think you're absolutely right. When it comes to growing your food, you want to expand beyond just, am I growing this
Mm,
for me, but how am I doing it in a way that is
mm.
beneficial, not just to my health, but also to the surrounding environment. So
Yeah.
my
So what
my
tips would you
number
have?
my number one tip for growing food is to plant pollinator flowers around your garden.
Hmm.
Number one tip. So I've got this garden. I'm sure some of y'all who are listening in here have seen it. It's a circular garden with
Hmm.
sundial-like raised beds spread throughout. Around that edge, around that border, I cut out a 3-foot bed that circles the whole thing, and it is strictly for native pollinator plants. And the reason I do that is because I want as much wildlife and pollinator activity around that area as possible. Because if that bumblebee's coming to check out my echinacea or my
Mm.
rudbeckia or catmint, whatever it is, and my tomatoes are also flowering at the same time, he's going to go over there and say a little thank you and
That's
pollinate my
cool.
tomatoes for me.
That's
So, and
like
I,
a pollinator halo, isn't it? You
oh,
can
I should
trademark that.
call
You
it.
can keep that
Oh
one.
my, that I'm going to
Pollinator
use that
halo.
in my
Oh,
workshop. My
that's such a
pollinator
cool idea.
halo. That's a
Uh,
hundred percent what it is because then they're
Yeah.
able to eat and be safe in that environment. I've added shelter. I've added some water elements this year too, and then I get as a farmer, a gardener, better yields
Hmm.
on my growth because I can't tell you how many clients of mine say, "Oh, I planted this garden and I feel like I saw so many flowers and no fruit." Like where was the actual fruit? And I think just comes from people not realizing that like, hey, you have to bring in the nature, especially if you're in a more suburban
Yeah.
environment where, there's not a lot of good garden activity near you or
Mm.
ecosystem. For me, I live more out in the rural suburban kind of country area. So there's already activity, but there were very few flowers anywhere. So it's kind of like that movie Field of Dreams. If you build it, they will come, right? If you plant it, they will come.
Hmm.
yeah.
Because once you throw one milkweed plant down, the butterflies find it. They will find it. Once I had my carrots and dill in the ground, the swallowtails started showing up. The
Beautiful.
bees and butter, everything's, and this was just year one, right? But everything was showing up in a really great way. This year's going to be even better. So if you can plant the supporting edible, sometimes they're edible, right? But these pollinator flowers around you, you will benefit tremendously in your yield.
It never ceases to amaze me that you can plant just one plant, like milkweed, for example, and a monarch will find it. Like, isn't that incredible? Like,
Yeah.
I don't
how?
know how they do it. I
No.
don't know how they do it because I don't see monarchs anywhere in the surrounding area because there's no milkweed. They're not going to show up. But how do they
Yeah.
find mine? I don't know. I don't know.
We used to live in an apartment block. It was like a U shape, and we had an up the top and a balcony. And I sowed some milkweed, and literally only one like germinated and grew into the lovely flower. And my husband kept saying to me, "There's a really beautiful like orange butterfly on the balcony." And I was
Cute.
like, "You're only just telling me now." He's like, "Yeah, it's like there every day." And I'm like, "What?" And I snuck out the door and it was a monarch. And I just think, how did it find that one milkweed flower in amongst all these balconies with barely any plants on any of these other balconies? That is just extraordinary to me.
Yeah, it really is. And the challenge then becomes is once they show up, you need multiple milkweeds
Yeah.
because those caterpillars will eat a lot. They will eat a ton. So it's important to have good variety there too. And we've got our swamp milkweed, our common milkweed, narrowleaf, butter. We've got all different types of milkweed so that they've got options for them. But man, is it funny when they just show up out of nowhere, right?
Yeah. It's like that pure instinct, isn't it? It's like pure
Mm.
knowledge that we don't
But
have
that
as
proves it'll also work on a balcony or maybe potentially in an urban space as
yeah.
well. Get the
Doesn't
plants
matter
there,
where
and
you
even
are.
Yeah.
yeah, and even better if you can make, I think they would call it like a bee highway or something like that. Try and get neighbors to
Yes.
also get involved, which then obviously gives you more population and more chance of then attracting
Yeah,
what you need to there.
absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Mm.
Yeah, I love that. So, do you think that gardening in general, so that could be growing your own food or, plants or pollinators, whatever, whatever way you choose, do you think that that changes the way people think about consumption and waste? Because there's so much food waste, isn't there? So, do you think doing it yourself helps that?
I do. I think for a few reasons. Number one, when you grow yourself, you realize how much food you can actually grow on a single plant. Like I
Yeah.
Mm.
always laugh when my clients are like, "Oh, I love zucchini squash, courgettes, right?" And
Yeah.
they're like, "I'm gonna plant three." And I'm like, "No, don't plant three. Plant one because you will end up with more zucchini than you will ever need in your entire life if that one plant gets going." For me, I do two because I give them away to a lot of neighbors, right? But when you realize how much a single plant can produce, and you're like, "Oh my gosh, like if I can't give this away, I'm going to waste food myself." That's a kind of light bulb moment where you're like, wow, like this is actually very productive. Number two, as I always find, and this is for a lot of gardeners who are not growing by seed just yet, there's so much plastic waste. Like
Mm.
the nursery pots, like I know every single gardener, myself included, has a hidden stack or really a pile at this point of
Yeah.
nursery pots somewhere on your property or wherever because you can't recycle them easily. They're unavoidable at most nurseries. Most nurseries don't take them back like they used to, at least not in the United States. And it is it is just an overwhelming amount of plastic waste, which a different kind of waste, right? But one that's equally as important. And then I think just when you start gardening and you realize that so many ecological behaviors are beneficial to your garden, like composting. I
Mhm.
started composting because of my garden. I'm like, oh, I've got all this compost that I'm buying. I don't want to be buying compost if I can avoid it. So let me see if I can make my own. And don't get me wrong, I use plenty of bag products and things like that. It's always fully organic. I use a company called Espoma, who is fully organic to the point where like my dog could eat it and not have an issue, right? It's fantastic. But if you want to make your own compost, great. And when the garden retires at the end of fall, cut those things up, throw them in the compost pile, and it nourishes next year's garden. So it's
Mm.
a really inspiring thing that just I think the garden is the main reason why you end up doing those behaviors.
Yeah. One big beautiful cycle.
Yep.
Wow, this is such a great chat, honestly, and I think there's loads of great take homes here. But I feel like sometimes for listeners, like they might feel quite overwhelmed by environmental issues and kind of the whole package of issues that kind of happen on a day-to-day basis. What would you say is one kind of like kind of packaged up growing step that they could take to actually make a positive impact? Like, where do you start almost like as a starter
Mm,
pack for saving the world? What would you put in that pack?
starter pack. First, I think it just before you get to the starter pack, you just got to have a reframe of your mindset. Is like,
Hmm.
listen, like I am a part of nature. I am an animal,
But how do you
and
jolt that? Because if someone's like here, there's this show called Love Island. I don't know if you get it in the US, but it's like this
of
really
course,
plastic show. Oh yeah, and this really
yeah.
plastic show with these kind of people, and the set is always like artificial turf, artificial turf,
Oh,
la la la. But
gross.
this is the garden that a lot of people in UK and probably in Europe and US aspire to that garden. They want to have grey fences, kind of like this kind of real nothing garden. I call that a Love Island garden. It's like, how on earth do you convert someone like that, you know?
That is really funny you mentioned that with the artificial because something that my landscape design firm is dealing with right now is
Mhm.
AI inspiration pictures,
Oh.
where clients will send through a picture, like, hey, we took a picture of our terrace. Here's what we want it to look like.
Mhm.
And this was in, you know, I think this was like early March. Like, we want this planted by the end of the month, which is still cold here,
Mhm.
right? And they had big giant tall grasses and hydrangea in a full sun area where they would have gotten fried and just things that AI wouldn't quite understand.
Yeah.
And it becomes unrealistic, right? Because you have to
Mhm.
connect them and jolt them into this new mindset. And for
Yeah.
me, I think the biggest thing is if you can start growing food and you taste it, if you taste the difference,
Okay.
right? Because see it to believe it is one thing, because
Mhm.
we're oftentimes very plant blind in society, meaning
Yeah.
that we don't acknowledge the plants on our daily walk, or there might not be plants on
Mhm.
our daily walk, depending on where you're living, right? If you're living in New York City, your feet might not touch the ground for
Mhm.
weeks at a time.
Mhm.
Yeah.
So for me, it's like get an experience where you taste something, because that
Mm.
is such a visceral thing. That's going to start spark a new consciousness, I
Mhm.
would say, and kind of get you going on this path. So for that starter pack, right? I'd say go out and get, and I always use beans as the example because beans are like the classic thing you do in elementary school, where it's like,
Mhm.
oh, we took the bean and we put it in the thing and it grew, right? Start with
Yeah.
beans, or any microgreen seed, radishes, broccolis, all those things
Mhm.
on your windowsill. You don't even have to go outside. If you live in an apartment, start here and just put a little soil down, put it in a sunny window, see what happens. Even that alone, knowing that you have microgreens that you can throw on a salad, especially in
Mhm.
New York, it's like, oh my gosh, like I went over to someone's house and they had microgreens, fresh grown,
Mhm.
like it becomes a point of conversation, a point of pride.
True.
And
True.
then you start upgrading from there, and you don't have to be, growing
Mhm.
hydroponically like this necessarily, right? But
Yeah.
the point is all of a sudden now you've created a connection. And then I've seen it with my own clients where we get their house plant and then they ask me, oh, can I start growing some food? How can I do that? And then I teach them how to do that. And they say, oh, we bought a new apartment. It's got a terrace. Oh, then we start getting outside, right? And then 5 years later, they say, oh, we bought a house in the suburbs and now we've got an acre of land. What do we do? And that's that progression. That's
Mm.
that progression. And I say starting from seed in particular because there is something so rewarding that taps into your inner child when you see that little sprout pop up through the
Yeah.
soil.
True.
It's
True.
something different than just buying a transplant. I think it means more to people.
Yeah, I love that. I love that you mentioned your inner child because as we get older, we kind of lose that awe and magic in things, don't we? And when you grow
Yeah.
from seed and you're checking it every now and again and it pops up and then it grows and you nurture and it becomes this amazing whatever it is that you're growing,
Yeah.
you have that like aura and magic feeling like a child, and that is so special.
Yeah. True. True. True.
100%. And I always joke around. There's the Jack and the Beanstalk fairy tale where he gives them the magic beans, right?
Yeah.
It's already magic. Like you're taking this little rock looking thing, putting it in the ground, and it pops up and gives you free food. Like
Yeah.
Mhm.
it's already magic.
Yeah, I love that. Yay, bean is really magic. So tell us what's keeping you busy on a day-to-day basis, like with your TV stuff and your business and everything.
Yeah, this is a busy year. We just announced our first pregnancy, which is very exciting. Uh,
Congratulations.
Thank you. And it's also been a kick in the butt to be like, oh my God, I gotta finish everything. I gotta get the house ready. I got to get the garden ready. I've got to prepare for this child that we're bringing into the world. So that has been keeping me busy. And we talk about the plant stuff today, but also it's been a lot around if I'm going to renovate my home in ways that are good for the environment and also good for our health, non-toxic paints and the types of furniture, the fabrics you use, all of these things are now opening my mind up to new considerations that I previously was totally unaware of. There's a fantastic documentary on Netflix right now called The Plastic Detox
Yeah.
and talking about how plastic exposure and petrochemicals are leading to higher infertility rates around
Yeah.
the world. And that has been a major kind of eye-opening moment for us because it's like, all right, we're so good with our garden and our plants and all this stuff, and we've made really good choices at home here too. But there's still so much more that we can be doing, and it's just another reminder that like all the way along this sustainability journey, there's going to be something new. There's going to be
Yeah.
something new that pops up, a new technology, a new discovery, good or bad, that we just have to be more aware of. So getting this house in order and getting ready for that baby's top priority right now, and definitely doing some fun special projects in the garden to celebrate that too.
I love that. Congratulations. That's so amazing. And what a lovely journey that you'll go on as well, you and your wife and your child. You're bringing your child into a world and teaching your child, healthy, clean living too, which is
Exactly.
absolutely awesome. Um, where can listeners find you? I mean, I'm pretty sure most of the listeners probably already know you, but if they don't, where can they find you online?
Farmernick.com, super easy. And then the handles are the same on Instagram and TikTok, YouTube, all that stuff. And we'll be sharing a lot more long form content this year, which is very exciting, just to be able to dive a little deeper into how we go about our design practices here at the homestead in Michigan, how we approach some of the home renovations as well. Obviously, there's going to be the growing food tips and the house plant tips and all that stuff as well. But just taking that next step and sharing a little bit more about the day to day.
Hmm.
I love that.
Very
That's
cool.
awesome. Thank you so much for coming on the podcast. We really appreciate it. We've enjoyed chatting with you.
Well, thank you so much. I appreciate it too.
Cool. Thank you. Thank you. Hello, young Ellen.
Hello, young Michael. How are you?
I love you. Got these like big earphones on. You look so cute.
They're almost as big as like my head.
You look like you're gonna land a plane.
Yeah, that would be cool. Oh no, I don't think you do. You don't fly a plane like that, do you? Do you? Like
Wow, not
like a
really.
steering wheel? No, I don't know. Anyway, where are
Not
you?
unless you're
You look,
doing some loop the loop or something.
yeah, you look like you're in like a cabin or something.
I am in a cabin. It's funny you should ask, Ellen, because I am on a cruise. Yeah. Look, isn't it beautiful? Don't you love having a big patio door that opens to water?
Oh, that's so stunning.
Oh,
Yeah,
honestly.
that's
Oh,
beautiful.
I just think water is the best thing ever. I'm
Yeah,
so glad I invented it, like back in the 60s.
I agree. Like, I'm staying over by the coast, and even just
Oh,
spending a moment, do you know what I mean? Just walking
yeah,
to the
yeah.
beach and
Oh,
seeing the sea is just, I don't
you're
know,
in
it's
your
so
sheep shed.
therapeutic. I'm
You're
what,
in your
sorry?
sheep shed.
I'm in my tiny home by the sea.
I call it a she shed.
A she shed, yeah. Well, hubby's here as well at the moment, so it's not so much a she shed as as a messy shed. It's like a
Oh,
brick shed, basically.
oh. Have you had a small sore throat? I can still tell you're a little bit, what's it?
Yeah, I have
Oh,
had a not small sore throat. I've still got pajamas on underneath. I Yeah, I went to the retreat, got back from America, went to do the wellbeing retreat, and was ill
Yeah.
the whole time, which is literally
Oh,
my worst nightmare, as you can
yeah.
imagine, because it's like I'm not in control of everything then.
Yeah.
But yeah, it lingered on and on. So sorry, it sounds a little husky, but here
Oh,
we
no,
are.
that's okay. But the retreat was good, yeah? It looked like the weather was nice, right?
The weather was amazing. So this is the fourth year
Yeah.
we've done the retreat, and this is the best weather we've ever had.
Really? Because I
It
remember when
was
I was there, the weather was, yeah, it was still cold, but it was fairly sunny most of the time, I
It was
think.
like, yeah, it was okay, wasn't
Yeah.
it? But since then,
Yeah.
we've had 2 years of like really cold weather.
Uh-huh.
And this year was like shorts and t-shirts laying
I
in the
really.
meadow
That's
in the
cool.
sun. It was just absolutely stunning. And in
Oh,
total, we had like 28 people. That includes,
really?
yeah, like me, Angie, and Lindsay, Abby, and Karen, who are like the team who,
Mhm.
do all the activities. And
Yeah.
but it was just totally wonderful. It's a magical weekend. So
Oh,
yeah.
well done, Balls.
Thank you. Next year, I'm doing one in North Carolina as well, which is
Oh
really
my
cool.
God, that's cool.
Uh-huh.
Okay. I
Yeah,
was
so
wondering when you were going to start doing a flip one. Yeah.
yeah, gonna do Wild Wellbeing in North Carolina. But I'm doing that through a company called Inspired Ventures. So they
Yeah.
kind of organize it all and just make sure that
Uh-huh.
it's all legally okay with
Oh, that's
insurances and
cool.
stuff. So yeah, it's very
Does
cool.
that mean the English one is not legally okay?
Ha! No, the English one is very legally okay. It's just in the US one, there's other things to think about, and I don't want
But
to
it
have to
wouldn't be
think
if I
about
was
them.
there. On
So
their
where,
lips.
so you are currently tell us all
In
about what.
Amsterdam at the moment, actually.
Yeah.
Um, the boat will leave tonight, so it's like 2 days in Amsterdam, and then going to. People have been like, because I did this cruise last week, so I'm not necessarily going on the excursions twice. So they went to the Aalsmeer flower auction today. It'll be cooking off
Nice.
tomorrow. Maybe I'll
Yeah.
go there. I'm not sure yet. I've had so much kind of like admin work to do, and it's like the ideal time when you're kind of captive because I got like
Mm.
no other distraction. So yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, it's super cool. I'm doing my weird and wacky plant show is going to be in the evening today.
Oh,
So
cool.
usually like in the afternoon, but we're doing an evening slot, so it's going to be cool. And I've got tulips for people to eat, like the oxalis, the shamrock. I've got red leaf hosta to reveal to people.
Ta-da.
Venus flytrap. We're going to see if we can get it to count as well. So
Yeah.
yeah, it's going to be cool.
That's really fun. And you also have a new presentation as well, don't you, that you've been
I
doing?
do. Oh, thank you, Ellen Mary. It's called Grow This Not That, and I built it literally for the last cruise, and I'm really happy with it because I got this new kind of theme where I actually got it from a book years ago. There was a book released, I think it was an American book called Eat This Not That, and it was giving you like alternates to I don't know, you usually eat Pringles, eat a walnut instead, stuff like that. And yeah, so I kind of like riffed it from that in a way, grow this, not that. And it's kind of comparing, like, I've been working with these new azaleas from the German company that are really good in any soil. So we then compare that to an azalea that needs an acid soil. There you go, you've got your grow this, not that. And when I
Yeah,
do it in
perfect.
video form, I just throw the not that.
I do. That's very cool,
I
because
I made it a new trend.
yes, you've made it a new trend. Great. It's not. It's all, that's really awesome. I think that's so clever because, you
Oh,
know, I think we've said this before, perhaps. You find so many really awesome plants that are
sorry.
bred for, one reason or another, the color or the
Yeah,
climate or, the soil conditions, whatever it might be. And I always wonder how that reaches people. No, I mean,
yeah.
through you, yes, but for example, like in the garden center, I don't ever see the different plants. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So you know
And
what I'm
there's
saying?
I feel like garden centres should have more of a showcase of like new arrivals. And when I was at
Yeah,
Hollybush last weekend, I actually said that to them, and maybe they'll take it on. They're quite a progressive garden centre actually, because like
right.
new arrivals, you'd often have that like in a department store, wouldn't you? Like
Mm. Yes, totally. Yeah,
cool. But yeah, just a
yeah.
way to communicate, why we breed new plants, and the presentation is like, I don't know. about 50 different plants and their alternatives. And sometimes it's kind of like, well, if you like this, you might like this. So like with alliums, like I kind of then shown people, if you want that allium look, but with yellow, for example, here's something that has the same shape that then does this.
Right.
La la la. So yeah. Super cool. Yeah.
That's
They,
very
I
good.
did a really cool presentation for the Chartered Institute of Horticulture the other day as well, talking about like my career and like tips for social media and stuff. And it's so nice to share your kind of experience, isn't it? Do you know what I mean? It's I say that obviously without ego because I'm the last person to have an ego, Ellen, as you know. Um, no, I say that kind of delightfully without ego, but it is so nice to like what you've learned and the way we've learned it. Maybe sometimes the easy way, the hard way, whatever way. We can pass that on, and it's so cool. And that's actually the one nice thing about getting old, because I don't
Is
want a
it?
grey beard.
Now, I was just thinking to myself, I
Here we
won't
go.
say this while we're recording, but when we finish
Wow.
recording, I was going to say, your beard has got grey like overnight. What's happening
I've,
there?
I think you
Wow.
probably, I think you probably noticed the difference because I'd been kind of like dyeing it gently every so often, and
Hmm.
this is the first time I've really left it to come out because
Hmm.
I don't like the moment before. I'm not quite experienced with dyeing it yet. I tend to leave it on a little bit too long. Then it kind of looks a little bit like too much for a few days. And so
Okay.
I kind of haven't got that right balance. And now I'm thinking like I'm on this cruise. I should have done it before I got on because then I would come on with a nicely dyed beard. But now I'm too late because then if I do go too far with it, then I've then got to learn. I'll go down to dinner with this kind of like really fake looking beard and like I don't know. Because last time I said it for 20 minutes and then I don't know, it was ready after 5 and I was like, oh my God, wash it off.
Yeah, you don't need to leave stuff like that on for very
Yeah.
long, especially on
It's,
grey hair, because
I
the
know.
dye takes to it very, very quickly.
So
Um,
maybe I'll just do it
I
with 5 and see where it goes. Yeah.
I would just like you to know that it looks very cool and you don't have to
Uh,
dye it should you wish not to dye it.
well, it looks a lot more balanced. Like usually there's this kind of dribbly bit, but I feel like there's almost more happening at the top and the other side that,
It looks
because
smart.
it's just when you then like because I'm filming a lot of different video and pictures and stuff, and like even not even vanity but just from a kind of practical level it then looks weird in the picture when this grey stripe is quite prominent. Do you know what I mean? It's then the focus is in the wrong place. So
I
I
think it just depends on how you feel about it, because
yeah, I'd like it to
that's
be
your
more
beard. That's
peppery.
what
Peppered.
it looks like. I think you need to let it grow out so that it will be more peppery. You have to go through, it's like me going through the stages of growing my grey out.
Mm.
In the beginning,
Yeah,
it just wasn't fun and it didn't look nice. And then
yeah.
it gradually kind of comes into its own. You kind of just got to get through that, and let it be. But it depends on, it's up to you. For some people die, some people don't, but
Yeah.
you know,
Thank you.
it looks very cute.
Ah, you're really in favour of me today. That's so nice.
Yeah, some days I'm feeling kind. Other days not so
I
much.
like emotional connection is quite prominent today. It's nice.
That's
Oh,
hilarious.
melons. So yeah, so that's great. Malvern next week. I'll be there, which will be cool in the houseplant stages.
Yeah,
Stages.
yeah.
I think what after that? Well, it's soon Chelsea as well, isn't it? Oh, I'll be back in Holland to film some stuff as well. Actually, this spring has just turned out to be so busy. It's crazy, isn't it?
And you were talking about earlier on in the year how you didn't
Mm.
have a base anymore in the
Yeah,
UK. And
yeah.
look how that's turned out. You've literally not even needed a base anyway.
I
You've
don't
been
know.
away the whole time.
I just wouldn't be in it. It's just really crazy, honestly.
It's cool.
And like as you know, when you've been kind of like on the go, finding a hotel that has a nice laundry is like the holy grail as well, which is cool. And I had one the other day, and I just washed everything.
That's so funny. I would always book Airbnbs so that
Yeah.
with a washing machine, it would be like the
Oh.
filter would be
Yeah.
Wi-Fi parking washing machine.
Yeah. I mean, Wi-Fi. I can always hotspot, so I don't like worry so much that. But you're definitely parking and doodah.
Yeah,
How
yeah.
funny! Oh my
That's so
god,
fun.
that is bad. But yeah. So that was that. I did the washing. That was cool. I was going to tell you something else amazing, but I forgot. But I've been working with some cool plants this week in between cruises.
Tell us about some of them.
Yeah, so the red leaf hosta, doing some work on that. New petunias, one called Amazonas. Oh, giant flowered hydrangea. Maybe you saw that one.
I
Yeah,
did.
so it's a lovely. People are really sorry, another session of blowhorn. But people really, they're coming to me to work with their products now. It's so nice, Ellen. I'm sure I talked to you many times about the push and pull factor, and I really, everything is just the pull factor these days. It's so nice, and I think
Mhm.
that's not for nothing. Do you know what I mean? That's from a foundation of, showing people what you can do, doing a nice job, being reliable, la la la. And so, you know, I feel like I'm now doing a bit of advice, but like, yeah, people just you just got to stick at it and just be nice and reliable and do a nice job and enjoy what you do, and it'll always give you rewards. Do you know what I mean?
Mhm.
Is that
Yeah,
crazy? Yeah,
it will work out. And I think you
yeah.
at this moment in time especially are in your like flow state with it. Do you know what I mean? It's
Mm,
you're sort of in this place where you've worked so hard to, get to where you're at, and you
mm.
just love it and enjoy it, and
Yeah,
people have
totally.
recognized you for it, and you're in this sort of like flow with it, which is just
Yeah.
really, really, really cool.
That's cool, Melon.
We can
Oh,
kind of see it as well, which is
yeah. Oh,
really
that's good.
lovely. Yeah,
Uh-huh.
yeah.
Oh, how's the so how's the field then? Like, has someone been,
The flower field
or
of
did you not want me to ask that?
dreams, the flower field of dreams that have
Yeah.
turned to a disaster.
No,
Um,
do not say that.
do you know, it won't be a disaster, and it's not a disaster,
No,
but
everything is
we
learning. Even if I'm going to be picky with you for a minute, just don't even use that language. It's not
I was
even.
kind of
It's not,
joking.
I know, but a joke is still, take you by the balls, Melon.
Well, I don't
But
have
yeah,
any.
seriously, like everything is like learning, and yeah. So who's watering it? Mother Nature.
Well, I obviously left it to come back here for a few weeks, and
Yeah,
usually at this time of year we have plenty of rain, and
yeah,
all of a sudden, literally as I was leaving, we went into a drought.
yeah,
When do we have a drought in April? Come on. So on my kind of plan of things, it was to put some irrigation in when I got
yeah,
back
yeah.
in May, later in May.
Hmm.
But I, obviously hadn't done that yet. We went into drought, and there's quite a few dead plants, that is for sure. But the
Mm.
people who own the land, my friends, have been doing some watering as much as they can. But as you can
Oh,
imagine, watering beds and beds
yeah,
in half an acre is hard
yeah,
work, and it's not their responsibility. But
yeah.
together we have come up with a plan, you know, which is kind of really what I was thinking about anyway, we're going to use some tape irrigation to begin with, and a tank and da da da. And there's wells on
Yeah.
properties either side. But I can't do that until I go back. So I'm going back a little earlier. So I'm going back next week to
Hmm.
get the irrigation done. So it's not really a problem. It's just
Hmm.
we have to remember that the climate is changing, and we can't really rely on previous year's data. Do you know what I mean? So we haven't had drought in spring, but now we could well get drought in spring. So we just have to, as gardeners, be prepared and resilient, and do what we've got to do,
Well,
So
I think your things in the ground are going to be fine. They just won't come through, will they? Like you've got your gladiola, they're probably just sitting there until they
that's yeah,
get
that's
ready, right?
fine.
Yeah, things like
They'll
that.
be fine, but it's the plants that have already
Yeah.
sprouted or are
Those Lizzie
young,
Anthus.
dead, dead.
I love
But
Lizzie.
but
But they're tricky at the best of times.
I will just say, in my very organized, planned way-ish,
Yeah.
I didn't plant them all out. I saved
Uh-huh.
some, I
Yeah.
potted them, lots of them, and I put them on my balcony at home
Uh-huh.
just in case. And I've got someone going and watering every day.
Oh, right, yeah.
So I was already too worried to plant everything out, so I've kind of half and half things. And I've
Yeah.
also not sown as many seeds as would usually sow. So I'm going to do them as soon as I get back. So yes, I might
Uh-huh.
be a couple of weeks late with sowing some cut flower seeds, but they'll soon like catch up.
Oh,
And it's better than sowing them all and then them all dying because they had no water. So,
yeah, you're
you
right,
know,
Melballs.
it will all be all right in the end. All right on the night.
And I'm guessing also because like Farmer Bailey are the ones with really cool stuff. Like they probably
Yes.
do they do like chunkier plants a bit later on as well? Like
Well, Farmer Bailey plug plants, I think are usually just the little plugs, aren't they? I
only
don't think.
plugs.
Yeah, yeah. As far as
Could
I
be
know.
a good
Uh,
market for them to do chunky garden ready.
yeah, I'm not sure if they do or don't. But
Yeah,
what I do know is they release like a list of what's available and
I
ready to
know.
be planted at your time of year in your zone, which is
Uh-huh.
so
Oh,
cool.
cool.
So basically, I have a really good relationship with them now, thanks to you, like via you
Oh, that's
putting me in
cool.
contact with them.
Oh,
And
wow.
I am so I'm documenting my journey of growing the
Yeah,
Lysianthus with them, and it will be
yeah,
real. The reality will be like these didn't
yeah,
work out, but these did, and so on.
yeah,
So
yeah,
yes, so I'm doing some film like video for them. And it's funny because the
yeah.
first video is so excited, like, hey, look at all these trays of Lysianthus, gonna plant them all out, cool, 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 watching me plant them all out. And then the next one's gonna be kind of like, whoops.
That's
uh
life. Yeah,
too hot. But
yeah.
yeah, so that's really cool. But they release these lists of what's available in plug
Hmm.
size. So when
Yeah,
I get back to America, I will probably be ordering some more because I
yeah.
actually do think there will be some still. So I'm not really worried about it.
Uh-huh. Cool. Oh, I'm very excited about everything.
Oh,
Twice.
thank you. That's so cute. Very sweet of you. So yeah, my
Yeah,
whole focus really at this moment in time is the flower farm and setting up some retreats because we're going to do a few more.
yeah.
So yeah, busy, busy.
Cool. Oh, I love it. I just noticed I've got a meeting in 4 minutes. No, not 4 minutes. 6 minutes. I'm
Hmm.
so sorry, but we have enough time, right?
That's okay. You
I'm
do realize when we come onto the podcast and gossip, this always really makes me laugh, right? First of all, it's our podcast. We could gossip for 5 minutes, 15 minutes,
yeah,
or 2 hours if we wanted to. Do you know what I
yeah,
mean?
yeah,
And we
yeah.
don't have to drag it out. It's all good. So,
I always tell you that.
are you
Oh,
just
good
worried
shoot.
about like being,
No, I need to.
cutting it short?
They switched one round this morning, so yeah, I got one more, and then I got freedom. I was really trying to catch up my admin on the boat here because sometimes I don't know. I'm really good at kind of like reminding myself what to do when I need to do it, but then sometimes that means a whole crescendo of things that I'm being reminded of to do. So there's suddenly it's like,
Yeah.
oh, I won't think about that till Tuesday, and then suddenly Tuesday,
Yeah.
and it's like, here's what you missed earlier.
Yeah, thanks for that. Yeah, I and this happened to me on what's the day today? Oh, that's funny you
Yeah,
said Tuesday. That actually happened to me on Tuesday this week. So we're
yeah,
recording this on Friday, and obviously I was at the retreat Wednesday through to Monday, and I just kept thinking it's okay, like I'll just, because I don't need to do this work till Tuesday,
yeah,
Wednesday. And then all of a sudden there was like a barrage of stuff, and I was still so ill.
yeah.
I am so
Oh,
behind. I like the
yeah,
reminders on my phone and on my computer are
yeah.
insane now, and I'm like, I don't even know where to start.
It's
So yeah,
mad. Yeah.
yeah,
Oh,
but it will
ah,
happen.
I mean, write a list on paper because like somehow I don't know, because every so often I've got reminders digital and then I suddenly do it on a list. And as you write out the list, it feels like you're doing it, even though you're not. I don't know. It
Yeah, I
doesn't
used
help,
to
but
have a
it's still better.
I used to have like a notepad and write. So I've got my lists on the computer, but then
Yeah.
each day, if I realize that that list is way too long, there's no way I'm going to get all of that done. I
Yeah. You got
take
a
out
sub
the
list.
priority and
Yeah.
then I put that
Totally.
into my note,
It's
my
mad,
in
isn't it?
writing, and then I do that. So,
I could never be fully digital because even with my
no.
I've pretty shown you. You've probably seen it before, but like my diary, I've always got like two versions. I got it digitally, but I've also got it like manually scribbled out like this.
Yeah, same. Yeah, same. Do you
Just
think
like
that's
weirdly
because do you
insane,
think that's
you know.
because we were born in like, I don't know, the late 70s
No,
or
it just
whatever?
gives me a better overview of it or something. But at the same time, I wouldn't be without the digital part as well.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, I don't
I
know.
think I don't know, but I'm at this moment in life having a whole retro like moment. I
Yeah,
I totally don't want
having a
digital
retrofit.
stuff. I'm having like I want everything to be turned off. I don't want even TV. Like it's like I've had an
Yeah.
overload. Do you know what I
Uh,
mean? And I just want to go
yeah, I think
backwards
that
a
can
little
happen.
bit.
I was
Yeah.
watching a YouTube, ironically, about a woman who had that, and she completely took that technology out of her life. And then after what was it? I don't know, maybe 8 days or something. She woke up and suddenly her senses were completely amplified, but probably
Yeah.
to what they were before, weirdly. But
Yeah.
it was
So
really
that's
poignant. Yeah.
interesting because we
Oh,
talked about that at
just
the
a minute, sorry.
retreat. Yeah,
Yeah. Oh,
funnily enough.
really?
Yeah,
Oh,
we did because
cool.
we were just saying like, when do you, so we would go walking in the trees, yeah, and we might be there for an
Yeah,
hour. When do you switch off for an hour totally and utterly and engage
yeah,
each of your senses individually and then like all together? We
yeah,
don't, because, and we've lost our intuition, like our
yeah,
gut feeling, because we have everything
yeah.
telling us what to do.
100%.
And so we've lost all of
Same.
that, like you said, like that amplified sense of your surroundings and your being. And like I
Yeah,
kind of just want to go back to that a little bit. And I'd like to have a balance, a better
yeah,
balance. I'm not
totally.
saying no
Yeah,
technology, because here we are, but just like a
yeah.
much
No,
better balance.
totally. Ooh la
So
la, melon balls.
anyway, there we go.
Sorry. I need
It's
to go
okay.
to a review of the International Grow of the Year Awards.
Oh,
So you have a
I,
context.
very
And
good. Yeah,
I
okay.
needed to watch the videos first to see, like, because it's 6 months ago, I can't remember what happened. And they had videos of the night, and it's so weird to watch yourself walking around. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
When you don't know you're being filmed, it's like, oh, is that me? It's really weird because,
Is that
of
what
course,
I look
something
like?
you're filmed, but like
Yeah,
when you
yeah,
didn't know, it's a different thing. So,
yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
sorry.
Oh,
Cool.
that's okay. That's fine.
I need
I
to
won't
go
be able to
cringe.
talk. I won't be able to talk for that much longer, so don't worry.
Ah,
All
cool.
right
I'm
then.
signing out,
Nice
darling.
to catch up. All
I
right
think
then.
you're
Speak
amazing.
soon.
And I don't believe what
You're
they say on the
amazing.
internet. Bye.
Bye.
Transform your garden the easy way with Garden on a Roll. This is the perfect solution for beautiful ready-made borders. If you love the look of professionally designed planting but don't have the time, knowledge or patience to plan it yourself, Garden on a Roll has you covered. Garden on a Roll are supporting Series 20 of the Plant-Based Podcast. Each border by Garden on a Roll is expertly designed by award-winning garden designer Anthony Henn and delivered with a simple, pre-planned, biodegradable template that you just roll out and plant in one go. No guesswork, no stress, just follow the instructions and enjoy the results. Whether you're refreshing a tired space or starting from scratch, you'll get a cohesive, seasonal design that works with the plants chosen, which will thrive together and look good all year round. Choose your style and size, and everything you need is then delivered to your door. It is planting by numbers. Visit Garden on a Roll today and bring your outdoor space to life.